latest, and what memories have we got? And what do we mean by Pride? With Pride March, what's Pride March? It's about standing up for ourselves as LGBT people and going, fuck off, I've had enough of you lot. I've had enough, fuck off. I'm good enough and don't you treat me like that anymore, so fuck off. I think that's what it means. Yeah. and then we looked at all the individual things people have done, both around the Pride March, but other struggles as well. And shall I do my poem and then Michael can give his summary and then I'll actually in a few words. So Pride. What is this thing called Pride? It's about the love we have for ourselves and each other. Men with men, women with women. So roll all over me, babe. And if any of those bastards should try and stop me loving you, then their life will not be worth living. So trust me, hey.
They just asked me to do a quick summary of what everyone said, and I can't possibly do justice to everything everyone said. I think one of the things that I was aware of is that we were trying to squeeze a huge mass into quite a small space, and maybe this is something we can revisit and try and collect everyone's memories as part of a wider thing of what Pride means to us. I'm very glad John defined it for us. Sorry, Ms. Belinda defined it for us as a history of resistance and fighting back, rather than just in the straight narrow terms of gay pride, because that's become something different than the history about queer resistance or fairy resistance, however you like to. So we looked at sort of how that happened in our living memory, and we had kind of some memories from the 50s of, as children as being aware of something happening, and then my personal memory of the campaign for legalisation of consenting male adults over 21. That act became law in '67. So we kind of traced our personal memories from there. And
I will say we're much later than that, though. In all fairness to me, I mean it was 1970. We're talking about 80s.
No, I'm just saying we're starting from there. We traced it through the years and how younger people came into it with that kind of previous history and how they connected with what was going on. So it was different for all of us depending on when we kind of joined that stream. And we talked about, you know, the Section 28 battles as well as the actual Pride marches. We talked about how Pride grew from quite disorganised protests to something that was involving dealing with the government and dealing with corporations, which raised its profile but also got us into these clashes that we have now where people are being co-opted to serve the purpose of other people, and it's got rather confused as to what the actual message is. And so it's an ongoing story, and I can't really do justice to people's individual memories, so I'm sorry for not sort of picking out all your individual memories, but I think it's something maybe we can look at in more detail and find a way of creating our own history within this greater stream of Pride history.
Yeah, and we started off, when did you first go on a Pride march? Because everyone going, you may not feel you're doing much, but you're part of that fighting back and claiming that space for us, that legal space, that cultural space, and that's a growing movement. Now it's a world movement, and it wouldn't have happened without this person here, the campaign for homosexual equality, and this person here in the Gay Liberation Front, and Tom being the treasurer of Pride for several years, and me writing letters to my local paper when we almost had a gay bishop and the local homophobes organised against him in the demo outside the local church. So from big things to small, you know, treasure quite big, small things, just being there, that's all kind of back. We get a picture of a growing movement.
Does anybody have a few words of what they would want to see for next year's Pride? Sorry to interrupt.
Like something very much. Talk about Pride, and I don't like that. It was gay Pride. We've lost it. It's now a procession or a parade. It should be a march.
But yesterday was a march.
But more emphasis on march. We sort of reclaimed that, sort of got a march. So a gay pride, there's large numbers of people don't realise that the word gay ought to be at the beginning of it. I mean, onlookers. And we've been sort of taken over to a large extent by people who have other agendas, like pushing their club or their bar, or their latest music or something or other. And I don't identify with that.
But honestly, turning Gay Pride into a more of a festival is also a great achievement. That's why I say it. It's to make it an achievement.
So what do you actually want for next year, guys? Anybody got any ideas for...
I'd like to see more emphasis on the whole week, because it always used to be either a week or a period of time, 10 days or a week, rather than just focus on one big event on one day. I think I'd like to see much more focus on a whole programme of diverse events, because the community is a diverse community now. People identify through different labels. Some transgender people aren't going to want to be called gay. Many lesbians aren't going to want to be called gay anymore. Some people don't want to be called queer. Some people, like myself, would prefer a queer pride, because I think queer is being lost, and I think there's a growing queer identity that needs to be emphasised. But I recognise that's one piece of the big diversity. So I'd like the week that acknowledges that diversity, so there's different events for different sections of the community that then can come together in one big thing. And whether that's a festival, I think that's a nice idea for a festival, but certainly a protest is also got to be there somewhere.
I would like the Pride March, in whatever form it takes, to stop being a dead end where we end up within Whitehall and in a concrete jungle. I live in a concrete jungle. I don't particularly like Trafalgar Square because it is a very concrete, lacking in life space. And in the years when we went to parks, we were able to be in central London, and then we'd have a place to go to, a park in London. And I think we should have a green living space in order to take our celebratoriness out into not Trafalgar Square, which is a concrete jungle.
But it's a grounded place, isn't it? After building up so much energy.
So if one of the liberated councils in London would allow us to have a space in order to, come together afterwards and ground ourselves and be together in a green space, I would really appreciate that. This geodesic dome on the top of brutalist architectural structure is the closest I'm going to get to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to stand in judgment of people who want to do clubbing and all that sort of thing. I mean, fine, that's part of the gay energy, and young people really enjoy that, and it's really joyous and fun. But I think we could balance that with sort of well-being and love and healing and creativity.
Obviously, one more offering I would just say is that surely Pride needs to be all things and all expression. That it is also a fight of historic connotation of the past, but it's also a festival, as it is, expressing many ways of being, as each person is their own unique person. Thus, they are also their own expressions of who they are, and within themselves they find out who they are intending to express, and they are always then free in the greater community to be out there expressing who they are without the refinements of these stupid fiction laws that are created, as that is how things are perceived. That is what is said, so thank you.
I don't like being organised so much. I don't like being I think people make parties, and I think organisers are under the impression that they're the ones that make the parties. But actually I don't think so. I think just normal people make parties. And that's what happened yesterday. Just normal people walking down the road, going on a march together. And it was like, we made our own party. We didn't need floats. We didn't need commercial companies to go, this is what's funding us, and this is how we're keeping ourselves going. We could just walk down there and have a walk down the road, and it's fine for me. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for sharing. I just
Cool.
want to emphasise